Alright, hey everyone. Today we're checking out Awoken. This is a game I've not played before. We're going to give it a playtest here, see if we can get some feedback. First thing I'll notice, this is very loud, this music. At the moment I've turned it down quite a bit in the capture here and also on my end. But I definitely want to consider, just opening out some other games you have installed or whatever and try and kind of compare your own volume levels. Let's get this in a more reasonable area, I would say. Very loud at the moment, but hopefully it's okay to watch at the moment. I hope I turned it down enough. I'm gonna look at the game page here. It says, short prototype I put together in the past few weeks. This is actually my very first experience with game development and programming, so I'm basically learning as I go. Some notable bugs in the first release: the pause menu needs to be closed with the mouse. Also, there are some significant performance issues on some parts of the map. I wanted to make the assets more game ready, but didn't have the time yet. Most of the assets were taken from royalty-free libraries, and I included a credits text file for the proper attributions. Alright, so we're gonna give this a shot. It's apparently something very early. I'm hoping it's not as loud once I get past this here. Now I just realized I forgot to set that in the capture there. Okay, so that now you can see the title screen. This is what you see when you first start the game. I haven't seen anything past the screen. We do have like a little bit of a border around the edge. Don't know what that's about, but also looks like we're in borderless window mode at the moment. And I did notice this font kind of reminds me of Hawken. I don't know if that was intentional. It's sort of a vaguely similar sort of thing, so I'm a big fan of Hawken, so I don't know if there's any inspiration here. Go ahead and click on this, see what happens. Alright, wow, okay. Yeah, it actually... Oh, I died. Okay. I like how they stuff the gun barrel in your face. That's pretty funny. Interesting. Okay, so it doesn't seem like there's any sound effects at the moment, so we're not getting any kind of feedback or whatever. It looks like the AI is very basic. It might be hard to play without some of these creature comforts, feedback from being able to hear the enemies and stuff like that. I'm noticing that the... Oh, there's at least a sound for that. Oh, he just blows up instantly? Okay, I just clicked... Oh. But I died. Okay, I left-clicked once. And it seemed like the guy died instantly, but it also looks like I die instantly. Like if like anything touches me, I guess. So yeah, unfortunately the mouse sensitivity is like way too high for me, and as far as I know... Oh, we do have a pause menu. They said you have to use the mouse to resume. Looks like we have a high score in the top right there. Oh, it looks like this is hard to see right now. It says kill and then some Chinese characters, it looks like, and then 1. So I don't know if this is just keeping track of how many things I've killed or whatever up here. But yeah, it would be nice to have some better contrast there so I could read that against the background. But yeah, I would recommend, as soon as you can, put in some kind of settings menu so you can get some control over the mouse sensitivity, because it's different for everyone depending on what mouse they use, what DPI they use, and personal preference. So for me, this is way too high, so that makes it like quite hard to control this. Oof. And just looking around is quite hard because it's so sensitive. Okay. Is that something I shoot? Oof. Okay, we've got some memes. Is that okay? A little hard to tell what is like an enemy and what is just like random stuff in the background or whatever. Okay, looks like we got right click too. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like the cockpit and the fact that it's we got a gun on bolted to each side here, left and right mouse button, and the fact that it has this sort of FPS controls, it does give that vague sense of Hawken, I would say. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if this person had played that game. Obvious difference between this and Hawken is that the mouse look is unrestricted, whereas in Hawken it's limited how fast you can mouse look around, and that makes a big difference in the gameplay, the way it unfolds. So Not that one is right and the other one isn't. It's just it's gonna end up being a different kind of game if you go that route. So, oh, looks like okay. We have shift. We can do a little boosty boost. I think it's just. It's like we can just kind of move in any direction. Looks like enemies are just spawning around. It's a bit annoying. I'm kind of getting stuck. I think on this little lip here of geometry. So this is kind of a. Yeah, so this is a common issue. You just want to have like a little step up, you know, program in a little step up so that you can get over that kind of thing. So I'm just gonna spam the button. I don't know what the... So when I right click, I can't really see what's happening. There's not really any visually... There's not any visual indication of like what's shooting out of this or anything, so I don't really get a sense of what I'm doing with that. I'm curious as to why the explosions, the frame rate on this explosion effect is so slow. It's kind of strange. I guess maybe they just wanted it to be a more dramatic explosion and they just didn't have anything with more frames or something, and they just made it go really slow. I don't know. It just looks very strange. Also don't care for how it kind of covers up whatever's behind it there. You can't really see. Yeah, it looks like at the moment we can just kind of zoom around with the shift key unrestricted. You can see I'm chugging some frames at the moment, which was kind of mentioned. Oh gosh, there's just like a lot of things in that little alleyway or something. Did they just spawn in here or something? Or are they just like coming through from a different part of the level? Oh gosh, yeah, those frames are dying. So I think these are enemies right here. I don't know if it's necessarily like... Oh, okay. Yeah, so as I mentioned at the start, just the lack of sound effects and the ability to hear the enemies, you know, making sounds as they move around you and stuff, that means you don't really have any situational awareness, so I can't tell. Unless I'm looking in their direction, I can't tell if there's any enemies coming up on me or anything, so it makes it really hard, especially because we don't really have any health. We just kind of die instantly. Yeah, so I mean... Oh. Oh gosh. Ah. Okay, I'm trying to experiment, but things keep killing me. Oh, okay, now I'm clicking. Okay, it looks like, yeah, okay, I can see by the way that the button highlights, for some reason at the moment, when I mouse over this, it doesn't, like I'm trying to click on this and it doesn't work, but if I put the mouse a little lower, then the button highlights, so something's a little off with the mouse detection on that right there. I don't know what's happening there. Where, oh gosh. Oh, okay, so apparently they just spawn like right on top of me right there. That's like a little spawn point right here. Yeah, so that'd be something, like if you plan to continue with this sort of, I don't know, wave-based sort of gameplay, you're gonna want to work out this idea of like where the enemies are going to spawn. You certainly don't want to have enemies spawning literally where you're standing and then just killing you. Your view is a little bit restricted, so on top of the fact that the mouse sensitivity is all jacked up for me at the moment, and the fact that everything's kind of well, between like the lack of textures and the fact that the enemies don't really stand out much against the background, it can be a little hard to just see while like looking around, like to tell what's going on. So I feel like the big guns on the side of the mech and everything kind of covering up part of the view just sort of exacerbates that a bit, but yeah, I don't remember. I know, like I said, Hawken has a similar sort of cockpit view. I'm not sure if they necessarily take up that much of your view, though. I'd be curious just to look at some screenshots of that game for comparison to see. Because it'd probably be, you know, just to the benefit of the gameplay to be able to have a little bit more of the visibility, you know. You could maybe even just move the gun assets down a little lower or something, so it just kind of reveals more of the screen there, or the view. Yeah, so I think oh my gosh, it's really hard to aim. It also doesn't help, so this is in... It's in borderless window mode, so I tell everyone this, but it's really important to add a... Keep getting stuck on random geometry. I can't even see it because it's not really shaded very well here. It's really important to add an option, you know, when you get around to adding an options menu for exclusive full screen mode, and the option to turn off VSync and all that stuff, because that allows you to, you know, getting VSync off will let you get your full, not only you get more stable frame rates, but you also get you reduce the input latency, is what I'm trying to say, which is a big deal when you're playing FPS games in particular. Sorry if you hear little notification sounds. I don't think I have the ability to mute that right now. But, so I'll give some closing thoughts here, I think. Can I pause it? Okay. Obviously this is very early on, and as we read at the beginning, this is kind of the developers' first game and their learning experience, so we're not very far along in what we have here. I'd like to see... Maybe you could soften up the visuals a bit. Like, the contrast is kind of wonky. Like, obviously we have kind of a lack of textures and stuff, and that doesn't help, but maybe just kind of crank up the ambient lighting a bit so that things are a little bit easier to see in general, and you really want to have the enemies kind of stand out, so we don't just have these big areas of either really dark or really bright gray, you know. But yeah, in general, the main things I would focus on is like moving around in the geometry, like all these little things I'm getting stuck on the ground. You definitely want to be able to handle those so you can kind of smoothly walk over those and stuff like that. You'll definitely want to have a lot more feedback of the enemies. You know, just the sound effects. Find any free sounds or something, and plug those into your game. It's gonna just be a much better experience than not having them, and you can worry about, you know, replacing the sounds later if you need to or something. But that'll be a huge help. And then obviously I mentioned, you know, some settings that are going to be important to have, especially in the mouse sensitivity and such. And of course your enemies are very simple at the moment, so enemy AI is always a tricky thing to get into, but yeah, I guess I can't really it's kind of too big a topic for me to try to give a lot of suggestions as to that, but I'm sure, you know, that's something that this person is able to figure it out on their own and probably has plans for already. But this is interesting. I am a big fan of Hawken. This obviously doesn't really play exactly like Hawken at the moment, but you know, FPS mech, and it does kind of bring back that little bit of nostalgia. I haven't played Hawken since several years now, since the game kind of died. So yeah, interested to see where you go with it from here. There's obviously just you know, you can only go up from here. So hopefully that was useful. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.